For as long as I can remember, I wanted to be a nurse. Every day you go in realizing that you're taking on this enormous responsibility of being entrusted with the care of someone else's child, and in particular somebody else's child who's ill. So, being pregnant in that type of work is very stressful because that's all you're exposed to.
The day she was born was fantastic. Everything went just perfectly. And we got to spend the night in the hospital with her. Woke up the next morning. We had breakfast for the first time as a family. Then I said, okay, well, I'm gonna head home, email some pictures out, let everybody see Avery for the first time. She was the first grandchild on both sides of the family and first child on both sides of the family. So this was a huge deal. I got a call from Cheryl saying, you need to come back to the hospital. And I said, okay, I'll be there in a few minutes. She said, no, you need to come in now. When I had left, Avery was in the room with Cheryl, in a very warm, safe, caring environment. And then all of a sudden, she was laying there with all these wires attached to her. And just, it went from, oh, everything's fine, to we have a child in serious trouble in just a matter of hours.
It was about 18 hours after she was born that she was diagnosed with hypoplastic left heart syndrome. I knew enough about hypoplastic left heart syndrome to know that it was one of the worst heart defects you could have, but I didn't know nearly the amount that I was about to learn.
Avery was around 4.5 years old when she had the biventricular repair, and she just had a really rough recovery after that.
She came out of the OR. She ended up on a bypass machine that they call ECMO. And I have to say, as complicated as her heart disease was, or the diagnosis is, Avery, again, was sort of always on the extreme good end of the spectrum. And this was the first time that really there was something unexpected that had happened. She was in the hospital for a couple of months. Even when she came home, she was weak. She just wasn't quite herself. It seemed to just be taking a long time for her to start to have energy, to even want to eat. But she did recover. She went back to school, and I think it was about a week after she was in school, one day she complained of a bellyache. Around midnight she woke up and she vomited. And for one split second, she just turned like this kind of grayish blue color. Both of us sort of looked at each other with this state of panic and said, okay, we're gonna bring her in. We rushed into Children's, went to the emergency room, and 2 hours later she went into cardiac arrest. Ended up having to put her back on this ECMO bypass machine to literally save her life. They could not get her heart beating again. And that basically started what was to be multiple months, a couple of more arrests, a couple of more bypass runs, until they finally listed her for a heart transplant. She was on the Berlin heart, which was literally keeping her alive. Stayed on the transplant list for 52 days. And then we got a call at 2 o'clock in the morning from Dr. Betsy Bloom, and she said, we found a heart. You realize immediately what another family somewhere is going through for our daughter to be saved.
I knew right away he had head trauma because he was unresponsive, and I looked in his eyes. We were just hoping, that something would happen that would, make him wake up.
The thing that was destroyed with Dalton was his head. His heart, his liver, and his kidneys were still good. We knew that he wasn't going to need them wherever he was going, and that there's a lot of good that can be done with organ donation.
Seeing her for the first time after her transplant, she was extremely swollen, but the one thing that stood out was she had bright pink lips. And it just
for the first time in her entire life.
Yeah, it just jumped out at us. And we're like, wow, so this is what it's like to have a healthy heart.
We knew pretty immediately that we somehow had to share our gratitude with them, but we also completely respected, we may never hear back from them. We may send this letter and that may be the end of it.
The letter was beautiful. It made us happy, sad and happy at the same time, but mostly happy.
We emailed her and I said, I got your letter the other day, and I told her that it really meant a lot to me, and that If you ever want to meet the family of the boy whose heart now lies in your daughter, please respond. And 2 minutes later, she emailed us back.
For the rest of that night, we emailed basically back and forth, I think till like 1 o'clock in the morning. It was a little bit too, I think, overwhelming to pick up the phone quite at that point, but it was just so wonderful to finally have found them and for them to have found us.
About a month after the letters, they'd called us on Christmas Day, and it was one of those everything stops conversations. Jim said he'd like to talk to Avery, and she said sure. She took the phone and she picked it up, and he's like, "Hi, Avery," and the two of them started talking, and she had a conversation with him, and that was just, it was magical for us.
It was pretty immediate that we, I think on our first phone conversation, probably even before that on email, that we both very much wanted to meet.
We ended up deciding to go up in August when they went to Martha's Vineyard.
It was like meeting family for the first time, like family that you've always had but you've never known, you've never met.
The kids, from the moment they met to this day, have been inseparable. Even just the way they play, the way they connect.
Like she's part of the team.
It's really beautiful to see.
Avery was fast friends with the boys, but she was a little standoffish with me. One day we did something and I just asked her, I said, "Would it be okay if I put my ear on your chest and listen to your heart?" And she said sure, and so she lifted up her shirt and she showed me all her scars. And this is a child that's had 9 open heart surgeries. Her chest was like a roadmap of the travels that she's been through, and it was pretty amazing. But I remember thinking that I've heard that heartbeat before, and it was very strong, and it was very fast. It left us with a really good feeling to know that at least this little child will have a chance.
We had talked about coming to Texas, and they were thrilled with that. We wanted to, see where his home was and where he went to school and meet their friends, and it was incredible.
Being there put a whole new meaning to it.
I did warn them ahead of time that we talked to Avery about Dalton, and she does bring him up. And Jim was like, "That makes me so happy," because he said, so many friends and family really don't ever bring him up. Mainly because I think most people just don't know what to say, or they're afraid it's going to make them more sad. And he said the fact that you guys are so comfortable with that just makes us so happy. When we were in Texas, she was outside with the boys in the driveway playing basketball. And she came in and she said to me, "Mommy," she said, "when I was outside, I looked up to the sky and I saw Dalton waving to me." And she's never said anything like that before. There's just sort of like something else going on with certain things that she'll say or ask. Dalton's life deserved a legacy, and while it certainly isn't the legacy I think that he deserved, what an enormous impact he has made, more than most of us will ever make in our entire lifetime. This 8-year-old boy saved 4 lives, Avery being one of them.
She really has an incredible heart.
Dr. Bloom called it, when we got the call, she said we found the perfect heart, and they definitely did.
She's right.